What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Wilson Auto Detailing community. Listen, in this video, I am applying a 5-year ceramic coating to this Mini Cooper, and we're talking about how to break into the ceramic coating game and paint correction game fast so you can legitimately start making money in your detailing business from implementing these skills, learning these skills, and selling them to customers. Now, just for a little bit of context, what you see me applying in this video is actually a 5-year ceramic coating from a company called SB3. Yes, you do have to be certified by this company in order to get your hands on the coating, but nonetheless, it's going to be a great subject for the remainder of this video. Now, for those of you wondering, how do I actually start learning how to apply ceramic coatings and how to do simple paint correction today, I want you guys to go below in the YouTube description box and grab my free 5-part video series where you will learn as a complete beginner how to start correcting paint, applying coatings, and making money doing it today. Remember, it is a totally free 5-part video series. There will be zero charge to you. It's just there because we want to make sure that people who have their detailing businesses established and are ready to start making more money offering these higher end services because they don't want to be left behind when ceramic coatings are taking over the universe. This can be a resource for you. Remember, click the link below in the YouTube description box. Now, I want to talk about a few really simple things to think about in your ceramic coating application as you guys watch me applying this one. One of the things you're going to see is as you move up, let's say, the scale of ceramic coatings, as you're applying them, meaning the ones that last a bit longer, as you move up that scale, it does in some ways become a tad more difficult to actually apply the coatings that last a little bit longer. This is one of the reasons why we always suggest starting with coatings that are far easier to apply, a bit more retail and consumer grade. Now, one of the other things you'll notice in the context of this video is that this Mini Cooper that we're applying this 5-year ceramic coating to, yes, it has been corrected as far as the paint is concerned, but what you see even on the roof here is that there are still imperfections embedded into this clear coat that we're applying the ceramic coating on top of after the single stage correction that we did. Why is that? Well, there are some variables that go into an equation like this before we actually start applying the coating that we have to keep in mind. Number one, it's how thin or how thick is the clear coat, meaning how much clear coat do we actually have to work with in our paint correction process. For those of you who don't know, Mini Coopers are actually kind of stereotypically very thin clear coated vehicles, even sometimes more so than the Asian manufacturers like Toyota, which traditionally put a little bit less clear coat on the vehicles as well. So in our paint thickness gauge reader, we saw that we're dealing with very thin amounts of clear coat here. So in the paint correction process, we only have so many imperfections that we're actually going to be able to address and get rid of before we actually apply the coating anyways. So the reason why you see some etchings and things like that on the paint is because, number one, this car sits outside and it's not maintained on a regular basis, and number two, in our single stage correction process we decided to go for in this particular instance, we decided, hey, there are certain imperfections that are going to be really deep in the clear coat, sometimes even past the clear coat, and it's actually okay to leave those on even after the paint correction process is finished because this is a really thick ceramic coating that is going to stay on this paint for the next 5 years, and so we actually are going to coat over some of those imperfections to make sure that those imperfections don't get worse. This is one of those concepts you're not going to hear a lot on social media because what you see on social media is people approaching paint saying, hey, we're going to make this perfect every single time. There's going to be absolutely zero imperfections when we're done here, and that's the real world of paint correction. Actually, it's not. A part of the real world of paint correction, the very real part, is actually deciding which types of imperfections we will coat over with this ceramic coating to keep them from getting any worse. See, that type of prevention mentality is not talked about a lot, but it's actually a very real part of the real world with real customers. There are certain parts of this paint that are defected, like the roof, beyond what we're going to be able to fix unless we wet sand and repaint. Because of that, the ceramic coating on those areas is serving, yes, to do this awesome visual appeal and yes, to be a protection, but in some ways it's also serving to actually prevent against further damage or unnecessary damage. That's just the real world of this. Now, we are going to look at this paint after we're done here under some really specific lighting, and you're going to see even with some minor imperfections left over, it still looks absolutely unbelievably awesome. And a lot of times those really minor imperfections kind of fade away into the background in light of the full picture. Now, like I said, the reason why we encourage you guys to grab our 5-part free video series, learning how to apply ceramic coatings, is because the ceramic coating that you see in this video, the 5-year, you really do, in some ways, in our opinion, need to work up to learning how to apply a ceramic coating like this, because yes, there are specific things that you can really screw up with this type of ceramic coating if you don't start in a way that's more fundamental. Now let's go ahead and check out the after result here. We've got some really high beam Agulux light here. These are actually ceramic coating and paint correction specific lights, so it really shows the hyper glossiness of the paint, the hyper visual appeal. You can see how there's no swirl marks, there's no oxidation, so even in that single stage correction, we removed 90% of the defects here. There's just a few etchings and things like that left over. Guys, remember that free 5-part video series is below in the YouTube description box. Hopefully you guys grab that so you can start actually applying ceramic coatings, learning the technical skills, what kind of correction needs to be done beforehand. And in addition to that, we actually talk about how to sell this particular type of service to your customer, because at the end of the day, if you can't create cash flow from learning these kind of technical skills, then there's really no point in learning the technical skills in the first place. And the fact is, we need the business skills even more than we need the technical skills. We'll talk soon.